Hey friends, Shay here. So today I'm here with a fun and slightly different recommendation video for you. I've not really done one quite like this, so I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm really excited about it. So this is a Beauty and the Beast retellings that are better than ACOTAR. A Court of Thorns and Roses is one of the most popular Beauty and the Beast retellings on the market right now. Granted, that series evolves into something that is not a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but the first book in the series very much is. So we're going to talk about other books that are fantastic Beauty and the Beast retellings that you may not have heard of yet. So grab a drink, grab a snack, let's dive in. So I do have two manga series that fall into this category that I'm going to quickly talk about here at the beginning. So if manga is not your thing, there's a timestamp down below so you can just skip the couple of manga that I'm going to recommend. But I hope you'll check out everything on this list because I feel like they all have Beauty and the Beast elements that really give it that beautiful Beauty and the Beast story. So let's go ahead and start with Beauty and the Beast of Paradise Lost. In this series, it is a 5-volume complete manga series, which is very much Belle and the Beast. In this world, it is much darker, a little more twisty, so more like an original fairy tale kind of feel to it, where Belle's mother has been taken or killed by the Beast, and because of her hair and her eye color, people assume something's wrong with our Belle character. And so when the Beast actually shows up, he takes her into his castle as a form of protection, but there's more afoot. It is dark, it is twisty. The art in this is absolutely stunning, so I do highly recommend the series. Again, it's a nice, short, concise series, so you're not getting into this huge, big, long investment like the next one we'll talk about, but I really think this one is a worthwhile read. So if you love a good Beauty and the Beast style story, this one's definitely going to scratch that itch for you. The next one on this list is The Ancient Magus Bride. Anybody who knows me knew this was going to be on the list. I do have a book that was inspired by this series later on the list, so stay tuned for that. If you've been around my channel, you probably know what that is. Either way, Ancient Magus Bride. In this, we're following a teenager named Chise Hattori. Chise is gifted in a way that lets her see fey creatures that most people don't. Dark and light all within. And usually with her fear, it draws the darker ones. Because she's been quote-unquote tortured by this, she puts herself on auction to be sold for her magical talents. The person who purchases her is a man named Elias, or a creature named Elias, who is also fey and understands how to save Chise from this power whittling away her life force, because she just has to channel it in certain ways. So he takes her on to teach her as a mage so she can take care of herself, but also in hopes that she will become his bride in the future. Instead of actually being romantic, this is more of a found family kind of situation, at least here in the beginning. They aren't super romantic 19 volumes in. There's little hints of a potential, but she's still very young. He's not acting on it, and he also doesn't understand humanity, so he doesn't really know what he's asking for. So I think this one is very well played out. Again, I think it's a fantastic take on a Beauty and the Beast story. Once again, beautiful art, lots of fey culture, lots of fey lore, and it makes it really a lot of fun. All right, those are the two manga series I'm going to recommend in this video. So let's go ahead and jump into 8 books that I'm also going to recommend. So the first one on my list is going to be Entreat Me by Grace Draven. This is dealing with older adult characters, which I also very much liked. In this one, we have Ballard. Ballard is our titular beast, and he has been afflicted by this curse, and he's afraid he's passed it on to his son because he was cursed after. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the nuances of that because it has been a minute since I've read this one, but I've re-informed myself on this one as well. In this one, we have Luvena, who her sister is engaged to the son of our titular beast. And so she comes in trying to protect her sister, and the Beast is very drawn to Luvena. And they have a beautiful relationship. I really enjoy everything that's going on here. It's a very different take in the best kind of way on a Beauty and the Beast story. All the main key beats are there, but it still feels very much like its own thing. It's really easy for a Beauty and the Beast retelling to feel a little too samey, and I think this one does a really good job of standing out on its own, having its own spin on it while also hitting all of the important beats that should be there in a retelling. The next one on this list is an oldie but a goodie, and that is Beauty by Robin McKinley. Now, this is pretty much a straight up Beauty and the Beast retelling. You know, our Belle character is actually named Beauty, and then we have a beast, and it is very much the bargain with to save the father. It feels a lot more like the Disney thing we're used to seeing when it comes to Beauty and the Beast. And so this hits really well if that's what you're looking for. This is more of a true retelling where it's going to hit every single beat. It's not going to necessarily feel like its own thing. It's definitely going to feel exactly like a Beauty and the Beast story. So when you're looking for that, this one is a fantastic one. An old classic, easy to get your hands on through a library or just to get a copy cheap, used, or whatever. So this is an easy one to get your hands on that I do highly recommend. The next one on this list used to be a BookTube darling, but I haven't heard many people talk about it in a long while, and that is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This definitely pulls from Beauty and the Beast lore. We have our main character, Agnieszka, and she is of the age where her and her friend group, essentially all these girls who grew up together, are on the auction block, you could say, for the dragon who protects their forest and their lands and their people from the dark fey creatures that live in the forest. And Agnieszka is pretty sure her friend Kasia, or Kasia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, is going to be the one that the dragon chooses. But the dragon doesn't choose the friend, he chooses Agnieszka. They start to learn magic together. This is going to be very low on your Steam meter, so if you like the Steam of ACOTAR, this isn't going to scratch that itch. But if you like the beautiful prose and storytelling, that's definitely going to be present here. This was my first Naomi Novik I've ever read, and I've read others since. This one's still been my favorite, but I also really enjoy Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I think it just had a lot more going for it to start. So I would highly recommend checking this one out if you haven't. Again, pretty easy to get your hands on. When I got it, there weren't paperbacks available, but now paperbacks abound. Easy to find in a bookstore, easy to find in a library. It's been out long enough, it's usually easy to track down. This next one here isn't going to be so easy to find in a library or a bookstore, but it is available on Kindle Unlimited, and that is Heart of the Fae by Emma Hamm. In this book, we're following Sorsha. Sorsha has basically been sent on this journey to find this king that's been secluded because he was betrayed by his brother, to convince him to come back and take on his role as the rightful king. This one has a lot of beautiful fae imagery. The writing in this is absolutely fantastic. This is going to be a similar steam level to A Court of Thorns and Roses. So if you like the steam level there, this is going to match that pretty well. I think overall I do prefer the writing in Emma Hamm's work as opposed to Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas just got found by a publisher first, I think is what really happened here. I really enjoy Emma Hamm's writing. She's got a great backlist with lots of other fairy tale retellings. So if you like fairy tale retellings, she's fantastic for it. But Heart of the Fae really hits really well. It has a lot of the beautiful fae creatures. The next book that I have to talk to you about is The Wish Collector by Mia Sheridan. Now, this one is also going to feel very Phantom of the Opera as well as Beauty and the Beast. Probably a little more Phantom if I'm honest, but I have seen it comped for Beauty and the Beast before, so I felt like it still had a good spot in this video. So our heroine's name is Clara, and Clara is a ballet dancer, and she's told to go to this wall and put wishes in it. On the other side of this wall, there's a man that no one sees and no one really knows at this point. And they strike up a conversation through the wall, and things kind of go and evolve from there. They end up in a relationship, and things happen. This one, I just really consumed very fast, and I'm due for a reread on it. I'm hoping to do that sometime this year. But yes, this also takes place in New Orleans, so you have a really beautiful, lush setting, and it's not necessarily going to be fantasy romance like a lot of the others that we've talked about. It's going to be a more contemporary feel, but I do think it'll definitely work and scratch that itch. Our hero is a scarred hero, and it's just so well done. Steam levels probably in the middle. I wouldn't say it's the steamiest on this list, but it's definitely not on the low steam side. Once they get to the steamy bits, it's very steamy, but like most Mia Sheridan, that doesn't happen till towards the end. Like, well, I guess Archer's Voice it didn't, and certain other ones it didn't. I would probably say the steam is comparable to A Court of Thorns and Roses, maybe a tiny bit more, but not too much more. Now the next one here is one of my all-time favorite books, and it's definitely high on the steam level, and that is A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain. This is going to be the only monster romance on this list, and I love it with so much of my being, it's not even funny. So this technically takes two of my favorite manga / anime series and puts them into one story because she was greatly inspired by both. So that is The Ancient Magus Bride, which was featured earlier on this list, and Demon Slayer, which is a very popular shonen series. So a lot of the lore of the world and the demon world that they end up in is based on Demon Slayer, and the way the hierarchy works is based on Demon Slayer, but the romance and the characters are more based on The Ancient Magus Bride. So in this one, we have a woman named Rhea. Rhea is essentially sacrificed to the Duskwalker, as they're called, and his name is Orpheus. He is very humanized at this point and is just looking for a domestic partner, but his beast nature takes over when someone tries to like run away from him, and people are naturally frightened of him. And so that's happened a lot. And so Rhea just kind of accepts her fate and bides her time and spends time with Orpheus, and they get to know one another. There are some things that increase the steam and the spice level that I don't necessarily want to spoil. And again, it's monster romance, so things downstairs are going to not be exactly human, but the way they work is fantastic, and I'm a fan. So I'm gonna leave that there, but seriously, I love this book so much. I think it was my favorite book of last year, if not very close to the top. And I really thoroughly enjoy this one. Again, high steam level, so if you don't like steam, this isn't going to be the book for you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to make sure that I'm curbing expectations correctly. I know that recently a lot of people have come over from Ashlynn's channel. Welcome. I appreciate that you're here. And so I try to keep that in mind, because I know she doesn't necessarily love steam, and a lot of her followers are similar. So that's why I'm trying to talk about steam levels here. By the way, Ashlynn's amazing. If you're not following Ashlynn, she's linked down below, and you should definitely go check her out. Her channel is a lot of fun and great vlogs. Love having a good time with Ashlynn. And the last one I would call my steamiest on this list, and that is going to be Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. This is a Why Choose Beauty and the Beast retelling. So there are 5 potential men, and she ends up with all of them because why choose? So why chooses don't work for everybody. That's why it's at the end of this list. But this one works really well. The Beauty and the Beast feel and lore of it is great. So 4 of the suitors are the 4 Fae princes of the Fae realm. So you have the Spring Prince, the Summer Prince, the Autumn Prince, and the Winter Prince, all kind of keeping this particular castle together. And she comes in and throws off their groove and ends up helping along the way. The 5th is our Dark Shadow Prince that lives in the underworld area. And we love him for a myriad of reasons, but we're not going to talk too much about that today. But when it comes to the Beauty and the Beast comparisons and storytelling, that's mostly because of certain transformation elements to it and the grumpy sunshine element of several of our suitors. So this is why it gets compared to Beauty and the Beast a lot. It's compared to some other things as well, but I think Beauty and the Beast is a pretty solid comparison on this one. So with that said, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your favorite Beauty and the Beast retellings down below. There are a lot more that I could have put on this list. And if you're interested in a different fairy tale, because I tend to read a lot of them, of me doing a recommendation list, let me know down below, because I'd love to make one for you. And if you're here just because you love me, leave me a rose emoji because we're talking about Beauty and the Beast, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.